Greetings. I just nearly deafened myself with that new video thing at the start. Nobody on. Woo! Might be in a minute. How are we all doing anyway? If there is anybody there, I don't know. I'm just going to start talking. I am, for those of you who have not seen me before, which is probably nobody because there's nobody on the live, I am Neurodiversity, father of 2 neurodivergent kids. I have ADHD and autistic and dyspraxic. And yes, I am doing live streams now, which is exciting. But this one's about self-care because, as you can see, self-care is not my forte. But it's an important topic because we need to really delve into it. So I'm going to wait for a few minutes and see who comes online, and then I'll do a bit of chatting. So yeah. See who says hello. Anybody's watching. May it's a Monday evening, so. Do. Anyone? Hello? Hi, Evan. How are we doing? Greetings. Good evening. I'm just waiting for a few more people to join in. I think there's 1 or 2 more tagging along. Because I'm just going to do this is a bit more structured. This one, I've got a couple ideas about what I'm going to do. Just about self-care in general, because I said before, this is not self-care. So, but I've been on a bit of a journey, so I'm going to do a little bit on that, and repurpose this content for YouTube and stuff. So I could later on, I'm going to edit bits, and then take questions and put them up like I did yesterday. So, trying to get more people on. Cool. How are you anyway, Ivan? You well? So 1 person busy at work, yeah. Is your work seasonal then, or is it just bits and bobs and as and when? Like, is it? I say bits and bobs. I mean, is it steady throughout the year? Oh, my phone's full of notifications of me going live. Yes, I know I'm live. I'm here. Cool. Yeah. Don't need that. Right. Oh, cloud team for AWS. So that's the. So do you deal with like is it like the technical back end side of all this kind of stuff when all this goes wrong on here? Because I noticed it when I was downloading my live stream from the software I'm using from Melon. I noticed it's Amazon AWS, so I'm guessing that's all the server stuff in it at that end, because that kind of stuff is not my niche. Yeah. I'll give it a few more minutes, then I'll just start babbling. Wondering, actually, I'm going to experiment with my... Okay. Oh, somebody else on. Hello, person number 2. Greetings. Who's on? Wait for a message to come up. It tells me there's 2 people on, but it doesn't tell me what platform they're on. Yeah. I mean, I also appreciate I picked a weird time to do a podcast at 7 p.m. when people probably having tea on a Monday, but I might make it 8 o'clock in the future. We'll see. Oh, Discord. Three. Oh, there's 3 people on now. Awesome. I might start in a minute. I'll wait for a couple of hellos and greetings and how's everybody doing. Feel free to drop messages wherever you are, whoever you are. I can message to everybody except Facebook groups. So we'll see if people can see my message. There we go. I'll just type that. There we go. So yeah, I'm just going to do a bit of chatting really about being neurodivergent and lack of self-care, I guess. There's a few things that I'm going to cover. So I might as well, in fact, there's 2 people on, I might as well get started. Right, so as you probably know, over the last couple of years, I've had a bit of a rough time since getting diagnosed as neurodivergent with ADHD. So that was in February 2020. And I'm not going to go into it on this stream here about how cataclysmic my life has been in the last couple of years, especially the last 12 months. But hello, Townsend family, how are we doing? So yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how chaotic my life has been recently, but there was a few things I really want to talk about actually that I think people might find really useful. So just from my experience of self-care as somebody neurodivergent and what that means to me. So the big thing that I've learned, and I've always kind of known this about myself personally, is that I'm very much of a people pleaser. I'm sort of more of an outwardly, I take pride in helping others. So for me, that looks like things like what I'm doing now, this community work, trying to help other people get into employment. But then on a personal side of it as well, instinctively, I'm more of I wouldn't say more of a caregiver, but more of a people pleaser. So, and not a yes man, but kind of going more with trying to keep the peacemaking, all that kind of stuff. But I got horrendous self-confidence issues and always have done. And the slightest bit of criticism sets me off, which ADHD is a huge part of that. So having ADHD is the rejection sensitivity is huge. Being hypersensitive to everything. Evening, Kay, how are we doing? So the hypersensitivity thing is huge enough as it is, but then how do you how do you move from there then? Well, I've talked about my journey before, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but moving on from that, so the last sort of 4 weeks or so, I've become really, really self-aware of what it means to look after yourself. And I don't mean that as in, I mean it in a few different facets, I guess. So the first thing that I've always known is about personality traits. And there's kind of 3 steps that have really helped me come to terms with understanding how to engage in self-care, how to what is self-care? And I think that's the important thing before I go into anything else, because what actually is self-care, and I don't just mean having a shave, which I've not done. So for me, and you'll see this over the next sort of half hour or so, is that there's three kind of facets to understanding yourself and learning about who you are. And this is especially as somebody neurodivergent, I've had to go through all this, irrelevant of the separation and all the rest of it. I've gone through this journey as somebody neurodivergent. So the first part of it is the personality tests, which some of you might be familiar with, Myers-Briggs MBTI tests. The second part then came, that is understanding your attachment style. And the third thing, and that's more to do with relationships with other people. And then the third thing is love languages, which is a term that gets thrown around quite a lot. So if anybody is well acquainted with them, evening to the KT, hello. If anybody is well acquainted with love languages and all that kind of stuff, feel free to ride this out, and also correct me if I'm wrong, because there will be things, and I'll point it, and they'll get pointed out and corrected. But from my experience, so years ago I did a Myers-Briggs test. I knew that I came out as one personality type. Did it again, and I came out as another personality type. So the Myers-Briggs test is a really good indicator of sort of giving you a rough guide as to your place in society. It's not gospel. It's not like a gift. None of these things are a given set in stone. These are just guides to help you along the way. But I find them incredibly useful. So, yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Actually, Katie, yes. I don't know, I'm looking at the comments and you're there in the camera. Yes, I'm good. Thank you. I'm just talking about self-care and being neurodivergent and what you guys and girls and everybody can learn from my journey. Basically, it's going to be, let's have a look. Let's see if I can get the screen up. Yes, mood test. Yeah, they can. Absolutely. So the thing with the, and I'll come on to this, especially with attachment style, is that you can change throughout the year. So personality types. I'm going to share the screen first. So the Myers-Briggs test. You can do the test yourself online. This is just 16personalities.com. You can do it while you're on the live if you want. Drop your comments, drop your things in the comments. And I'll pin some and talk about them. 16personalities.com. So on there, you've got 16 different types. I'm not going to go through every single one, but what I'll do is I'll go into greater detail on these based on your own comments, what comes up in the chat. So I will start with myself. So I am ENFP campaigner. It's quite appropriate. So this one, I was an ENFJ, which I think is a teacher. But as I got older, I became an ENFP. So I won't bore you with the details of the science behind the Myers-Briggs test, because I'm trying to keep this simple. If you do want to know more about it, this website's amazing. You can read up on it. But I'm not going to be lecturing people on what the ENFPs are and all that T's and J's and stuff, because I'll be honest, I don't fully understand them myself. I just go with the profile at the end and go, that's me. Sort of more of a big spacious thinker. So true free spirits, outgoing, open-hearted and open-minded. Lively, upbeat approach to life, stand out in any crowd. But even though they can be the life of the party, they don't just care about having a good time. Their personality types run deep, as does their longing for meaningful emotional connections with other people. And that, when I'm in the best place, that sums me up to a T. And I think this is the important thing to remember with these tests, is that they're all about when you're in a good place. This is the real you kind of thing. So it's more a sense of giving myself an idea of, well, if that doesn't sound like me, then why am I not being myself? And some of these do, it does go into some details about when you're not in the right place, what that looks like. So again, not going to go into massive details, but this is sort of slightly philosophical. You know, I can't help but ponder the meaning and significance of life when I should be paying attention to something else. You will find I personally think a lot of people with ADHD are this personality type because of the nature of it. Is it's very, very, very scatterbrain in a way, but in a way that's always trying to understand the world. We're always trying to think differently. We're always trying to work out what the meaning of life is, I guess, in that respect. See here, so positive energy. Well, again, in a good place because I've not been a positive energy recently, but personalities radiate positive energy, draws in other people. Campaigners may find themselves being held up by peers as leaders or gurus. But once the bloom of inspiration wears off, they struggle with self-discipline and consistency, losing steam on projects. And this is the big, that again is a very ADHD thing. It's a very move from one thing to the next. So I'm all up on this. I think this is brilliant. I know some people in my life are INTJs, which is the perfect complementary one. I think it's the judge. No, I forgot what it's called now. An architect. That's the one. The architect. Let's see who's got what. I'm sorry, might be different than my true results. Yeah. So this is the first thing. So with this, I've always kind of known my baseline personality, and it helps me understand what my sort of like I say, base level is, and then from there you've got things that will influence it. Things like traumatic experiences, being neurodivergent. These are all spanners in the works on these particular tests, so they're not gospel as such. But if you're feeling a bit lost, like I was, they do give you a goal in mind. They do give you kind of like when I am my best self, this is where I want to be. And that's definitely very me. So that's the first thing. I will come back and forth between these because obviously you guys, if you're doing the test, it's going to take a while to do them. But so from there, that's kind of the one that's always stuck with me. And then I got into a lot of these videos online about self-discovery and stuff like that, and creators on YouTube. And there's a girl that I follow called Heidi Priebe, whom I will drop it in the messages. And Heidi is an ENFP, this is where it led into. So I looked at ENFP, and I've seen a lot of Heidi stuff, and she's an ENFP as well. And what came out of her channel really, the next two bits really stood out for me, and I kind of had almost an epiphany about it, about how I'm so useless at being myself. The stream's kicked everybody out. I don't know. But really good with other people, so it's really helped me. I'm really confused. Sorry, I got really confused then because I dropped from 4 people to 1 person all of a sudden. So I was wondering if it's kicked me out of a stream. But anyway, so the next thing is the attachment style. So attachment style theory, and attachment theory, which I'm going to bring up on the screen now, is all about your relationships with other people in relationships. So it's how do I stop sharing? There we go. Still get used to this software. Right. Share screen. That one. That's the one. Mediator INFPT. Right. Oh, before I do, I've just quit the screen. Hang on. You are the same as the other Katie, I think. Mediator. So I will go back to Oh yeah, so INFP. So yeah, I'm ENFP, so very similar. It's just I'm extroverted and you're introverted. So this is where I start showing my age because I don't know what the share screen again. Hang on, I'll go back to the screen. Let's do window. There we go. That'll be easier. Right, window. Share. So what's the next tab on here? Okay, INFP. Let's go to INFP. INFP mediator. Empathy, diplomatic skills, and I missed the other one. So again, this one, somebody who possesses introverted, intuitive, feeling, and prospecting personality traits, tend to be quiet, open-minded, and imaginative, and have a caring and creative approach to everything they do. Which is it's no surprise that most people that I know that I get on with well are INFPs, ENFPs, or the other one is INTJ, which is the mentioned before, the architect. So the mediator may seem quite unassuming, but have vibrant, passionate inner lives, very creative, lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. Incredibly sensitive, profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and people around them. So again, hypersensitive is a lot of the ADHD traits, autistic traits. They all come into play here. It's very similar to the campaigner, but I think the difference between the two is that there's a lot more inward reflection on the INFP, whereas I sort of think more about the outside, extroverted as in the bigger, not bigger picture, but less about myself, more about others. But then that does not in a selfish, selfless way, not in an egotistical way. It's more an awareness, I guess, of the world around. Yeah. So again, this is classic autistic trait here. Mediators have a talent for self-expression. They may reveal their innermost thoughts and secrets through metaphors and fictional characters. So the role play element, certainly with things like masking and stuff, if you're not feeling comfortable with the situation and my daughter does it a lot with role play, where she will role play, and my son actually does it as well. They role play things like when we were going through our separation, there was a lot of mum and dad role play where they were trying to create the family unit again, and you can kind of see that coming in when things are a bit turbulent. Obviously, especially the girls in the group, you'll know better than me about the female masking side of it. But I know that certainly my ex and my sister-in-law are both this one, INFP. And my daughter probably is as well. So this probably resonates quite a lot, actually. Logistician, ISTJ. Ivan, you are exactly the same as my dad. My dad is ISTJ. It's the complete opposite of me, the logical one. So for anybody who's not logistician, here we go. Practicality and focus on order, security, and stability. So this is where me and my dad, I say clash. We're very different people, but we get on really well. We get on. We're very close, but we kind of in the right setting, we complement each other really, really well. But it's not an emotional relationship in that respect. There's not as like it would be with my mum or something that is more. My mum's probably more like me, ENFP or something like that. Logistician, introverted, observant, thinking and judging. These people tend to be reserved yet willful with a rational outlook. They compose their actions carefully, carry them out methodically. So yeah, Ivan, based on the fact what you said about working in IT as well, this all correlates. Most people are logistician, apparently 13% of the population. vital core to many families as well as organizations with traditions, rules, and standards such as law offices, regulatory bodies, and military. So my dad started off in, my dad's ISTJ as well, and he started off in quality control. I think he's always worked at cables, but then he went into sales. But he's very methodical, very analytical, very relaying the facts necessary to achieve their goal, expecting others to grasp the situation straight away and take action. I know from my chats with my dad, we've had he not naive is the wrong word, but I think he really wants to understand what I'm trying to do, but can't get his head around it. I think, even though he's clever, he's not a big thinker like me. He's not like I'm the complete opposite. I'm very much expansive thought, instinct, gut feeling instinct. And I think the INFJ is probably the same as me in this respect. And that's the more creative side coming out. Like I said, there's so much on this. You can obviously with your own profiles you can read them yourself separately. I'm just picking highlights out. But so again, this is where sometimes, especially relationships, whether it's family or otherwise, there might be a huge clash. Combining laziness and dishonesty together is the quickest way to get on a logistician's bad side. They prefer to work alone, or at least have their authority established by hierarchy where they can set and achieve goals without debate or worry over others' reliability. Dependency on here we go. Yeah, so this is kind of there's like you start to sort of cracks and conflicts. So dependency on others is often seen by logisticians as a weakness, and their passion for duty, dependability, and impeccable personal integrity forbid falling into such a trap. So there's a huge, especially the introverted, there's a huge self-awareness thing there, and pride, I guess, in, I wouldn't say not seeking help, but knowing that you can logically do something, like not, it's the opposite of codependent, I guess. It's independent. It is independent, isn't it? Like I know that I ask my dad for help, but I don't think my dad would ask me for help because he would rather try and do it himself, I think, being an ISTJ. So that's another one. So yeah, are the Katies still in here? Because I'm going to move on to the attachment styles, and I know that they seem especially keen on that one. Yeah, cool, right? Because it's showing, for some reason, it's showing that I can only see one person on my live, but obviously you guys are commenting. There's more than one of you there, so I'm just going to ignore that number. So attachment styles. So I'll move on to the next bit now. So attachment styles. Oh, on it already. Blimey, one step ahead of me. So there's 4 attachment styles, and these have complicated names, but they're really easy to remember. So secure is secure. That's at the bottom. Basically, healthy relationship. Disorganized, fearful, avoidant, which is the opposite. That's the chaotic one. Avoidant, dismissive, and anxious, preoccupied. So the easiest way to think of this is if you have, and I'm getting this right, you've got two halves. You've got yourself and you've got other people. So 2 people in the relationship, yourself and the other person, per se, person B, you, somebody else. If you're secure in both, let's take the example of being single, and this is where a lot of my self-discovery came about, where I get incredibly lonely and very codependent. I'm needy, basically. I am a needy person, especially in a relationship, whether it's with my family, with my friends. I am a needy person. That's just who I am. And this is the anxious preoccupied, where I am very, very secure in other people. I'm very trusting of other people. I see the best in other people. Again, this is all to do with being in the right headspace, but I see the best in other people. I'm very good at spotting other people's kind of nuances. I am an empath as well, so which comes from trauma, which I'll come to because I've not had trauma as such. But when you learn about attachment styles, you'll understand that trauma isn't always some specific kind of abuse. It can just be something like my mum's a worrier. My mum and dad are worriers. They're anxious people. So that's been passed on to me. That doesn't necessarily, it's not that I had a bad upbringing. It just means that it's just a subconscious thing that's a family dynamic. So that's to do with empathy, and that's to do with reading other people and reading personality traits and stuff. But this is for adults with an anxious attachment style, the partner is often the better half. So if I was in a relationship, I would be the self-deprecating one, and they would be in a healthy relationship in that respect, balance. The thought of living without the partner or being alone in general causes high levels of anxiety. This attachment type typically has a negative self-image while having a positive view of others, which is exactly me to a T. I am very, very, very trusting of other people, see the best in people when I'm in a good place, and then self-deprecating. And this isn't just about love relationships. This is family. This is work, everything like that. So a strong fear of abandonment is present and safety is a priority. Attention, care, responsiveness of the partner appears to be the remedy for the anxiety. I'm going to come on to that. On the other hand, the absence of support and intimacy can lead to the anxious preoccupant type to become more clinging and demanding, preoccupied with the relationship and desperate for love. Now, with all respect for the privacy of my ex and my previous relationship, I'm not going into massive details there, but from my relationships in general, I've had the things that have happened time and time again. What I can say is that this has happened to me, where if I've ever dated somebody who's quite independent and the support and intimacy hasn't been in the relationship, I get more and more and more needy and clingy, and I'm like, no, come back, because I'm thinking I can see the best in that person. I like this person. I like this person. I want them to stay. I don't want them to go because I like them. And then it brings out the worst version of yourself, because all you're doing is projecting your own anxiety and your own kind of self hate onto others. And that's what happened with me. And that's always happened with me. The moment that when people start to back off, I go, no, come back. And it spirals from there. So that's splash me face. That's my type. Or at least, should I say, that's my baseline type. So like Classic K said, you can flick between these. You can move around. You can almost train yourself to get to the secure stage. And learn about yourself that way, about looking after yourself. So disorganized, fearful, avoidant. This one is right. So this one is the one where you don't value yourself and don't value others. But by that, I don't necessarily mean it again, it's not a negative thing in the sense of selfishness. It's more to do with negative state of mind and positive state of mind. So skepticism, things like that. So tends to show unstable and ambiguous behaviors in social bonds. For adults with this style of attachment, the partner and the relationship themselves are often the source of both desire and fear. And note it says the source of desire and fear. So it's so common for so this is where apparently this combination of anxious preoccupied and disorganized, fearful, avoidant is the most common type in counseling, marriage counseling and relationship counseling, because what you find is that, and this again comes from my experience, is that when I've been in a relationship with somebody before who's fearful, avoidant, and I've always been anxious, preoccupied, until now, I've never been insecure. I've never been to the stage of secure attachment. So what happens is, it says here, the fearful, avoidant people do want intimacy and closeness, but at the same time, they have trust issues. Don't regulate emotions well, avoid the strong attachment. So they avoid it because they're scared of getting hurt. So it's the fear of rejection. So what you find is that when somebody like me who's anxious, preoccupied gets with somebody who's fearful, avoidant, there's a huge this was, for me, this was the spark that went, oh my god, everything's fit in place. Like, oh, mate, this was my epiphany moment when I read all this, and I was like, and my ex was fearful, avoidant. So you have a situation where if we take the dynamic of outwardly, so me to them, so from my confidence in other people and seeing the best in other people to their avoidance style, what you get is basically me trying to nurture the other person. Like, so I'm projecting that nurturing on the other person and going, you could do this, you could do this. That other person's putting up the barrier. But because I'm not secure, because I'm not secure in myself in terms of, like, I'm anxious, so I have self-confidence issues and rejection issues. We both have rejection issues. The fearful, avoidant and the anxious, preoccupied both have, disorganized, fearful, avoidant says it, but these two, number 3 and number 1, they both have self-confidence issues. So what happens then, and this is where, so on my videos, you might have noticed that I said I was the cause of the problem. And this is what I meant by it. When I said I was the cause of the problem in the relationships, this is what I meant. So I wish I'd done a graphic for this, because this is a really good way of looking at it. So if you imagine, if you're fearful, avoidant, which I think, who is it who said, mediators, also got a lot of mediators in today. The fearful, avoidant, yes, it's Milk Tea Goddess. Yes, Katie Milk Tea Goddess. I'll just have to say Milk Tea. So you were saying you're fearful, avoidant. So if your ideal type, your compatible type in attachment style would be somebody who's secure, because the secure person is secure enough in themselves to be able to be flexible with the independence and the intimacy, and then they can give you what you need in a relationship. So that was where my issue was that as somebody who was in an anxious, preoccupied state, I would project my caring nature onto the other person. They'll be like, nope, wall goes up. To me, that's rejection. So then I become not my best self. I start self-deprecating because that's my style. The fear of the loneliness, the rejection. That then projects onto the other person as me, as an anxious, preoccupied, clinging onto them, going, no, please come back, kind of thing. And clinging onto something that I shouldn't have been clinging onto. Or at least trying to help somebody that doesn't want my help. That's another one. So anxious, preoccupied people, especially myself, like, we're trying to help people and they don't want our help. And it's like, back the F off, like, and then we get rejected even more and it hurts more. So it's a never ending spiral if you don't know about these things. And I didn't. So that's why you need somebody who's in a secure place, because the secure person can give you that support you need. And then if you think about, it talks about here being the trust issues and stuff and regulating emotions, fear of getting hurt, then the secure person doesn't take it personally. So comfortable expressing emotions openly. Adults with a secure attachment style could depend on their partners and in turn let their partners rely on them. Relationships are based on honesty, tolerance, and emotional closeness. The secure attachment the secure attachment type thrive in their relationships, but also do not fear being on their own. They do not depend on the responsiveness or approval of their partners and have a positive view of themselves and other people. That is the goal. That is the end goal. And the important thing to realize here is that you can get to that place. And that's exactly what I've done in the last month when I've been on TikTok and I've had my little epiphanies of, oh my God, I'm learning about myself and stuff. This is what I've been talking about, is that I'm in a place, I've moved for the first time. Even Sarah, how are we doing? Sarah, if you've not done it, there's a I don't know if it'll be in YouTube chat, 16personalities.com. Have a look on it. Unless you know your Myers-Briggs test. So secure attachment style is the end goal. I'm now at that place, finally. It's took me like 35 years to get to that place. But I am at a place now for the first time in my life where I can go, do you know what? If I had to be single for the rest of my life, I could be single for the rest of my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd probably hate it. But I have absolutely no issues whatsoever with, I don't feel lonely. I feel lonely, but I don't feel like, I don't have that despair, that internal despair. And the same goes for family relationships and friendships and work and all sorts. I'm starting to lose my fear of rejection on the basis that I am learning how to become secure in myself, which is the self-care thing. And it's all leading on to, each bit is leading on to each bit. Okay, sorry, I didn't share the link, did I? This one. It's just attachmentproject.com, this one, because there's a quiz on it. I'll type that in there. There we go. Yeah, so even if you're not in a relationship, Kate, it's think about it in the context of your relationship with other people. So your relationship with the people around you, and you can contextualize it that way. Now, I'm going to come on to the healing process in a bit as well. So yeah, Kate's got a partner. So it'd be interesting to know, Kay, what your partner's type is and stuff, because like I say, with mine being, I'm the same as you. I'm exactly the same as you. I'm anxious, preoccupied. But I've traditionally gone for girls that are fearful, avoidant, just by circumstance, not any other reason. But then that means I've not been compatible. I've not been a compatible partner for them. So, and obviously the other side of it is, if you are the secure person, if you are in a secure attachment place where you are in a good place, you can be with these other people and see the best in them, but then not take it too personally if it doesn't go right or doesn't go your way. And I think a lot of it, and again, this is when I talk mostly about romantic relationships, but it can apply to anything. It can apply to siblings, it can apply to friends or whatever. The self-care thing is a cycle where if you get yourself to that secure attachment place, you then become the best version of yourself. And then because you're becoming the best version of yourself, others are seeing the best version of yourself. They like you more. They want to be your friend more, want to spend time with you more. They want to get to know you more. You end up get the confidence then, and it feeds itself then. If you're in a secure attachment place, you shouldn't, in theory, have any of the issues that come with things like ego or narcissism or anything like that, because those generally breed from the other three. I'm going to use that point to lead on to the next one that we haven't talked about, because nobody in this chat has it, which I'm glad, because this one is the one that is probably this is the one that can cause a lot of the problems, actually. Avoidant dismissive, which is self-worth, nobody else. This is the independent one. This is the I've been left on my own to deal with this. F the world kind of thing. Dismissant avoidant type would often perceive themselves as lone wolves, strong, independent, and self-sufficient, not necessarily in terms of physical contact, but on an emotional level. They've got high self-esteem and a positive view of themselves. The dismissing avoidant type tend to believe they don't have to be in a relationship to feel complete. So they tend not to get into relationships in the first place. They do not want to depend on others, have others depend on them, or seek support and approval in social bonds. Adults with this attachment style avoid emotional closeness. They tend to hide or suppress their feelings when faced with a potentially emotion-dense situation. So this one, I think, can be the most toxic of the lot. Because when I may be wrong on this one, because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. This one to me screams, that's the guy that's in trouble or the girl that's in trouble. That's the one that's gonna, if they don't sort their issues out, something's gonna happen. Because they don't trust other people. All this, like all the things that I don't know what I can and can't say on these chats, but all the stuff that goes off in America, with certain things and happening and all the chaos over there, and people go on these sprees and stuff. I think a lot of it is this. It's undealt with. All three of these, I'm pointing at the screen, you can't see it. All three of these is the cursor. Let me see the cursor. Can't see the cursor, but all three, number one, number two, number three, there's with every single one, there's an element of trauma involved. And it can manifest itself differently for each person. So, like I say, in my case, I didn't have any major issues in my childhood, but my parents are both anxious people. They both worry a lot, by their own admission as well, not just clinically, but they do worry. They're worriers. I am. So that's where that's come about. The dependency, the codependency, the neediness, all that kind of stuff. Avoidant dismissive is the opposite. That's the person that was left alone. I know somebody who is avoidant dismissive, and there was basically them and their mum growing up, and that was it. They had only child, absent father. I think it was like a military birth kind of thing, like one night stand kind of thing. And I think grew up without a dad and all that kind of stuff. Very, very, very independent person. And yeah, so I think that's a lot of that is something to be aware of if you meet people like that. Not in a bad way. Like I say, all these things, everybody can get to the secure stage. It's just a case of having that awareness of other people as well as yourself. You could use this to like empaths will do this naturally. We see these things in people naturally, but this is just another way of categorizing it. And then this one, which looks like the most messed up one, actually probably isn't, because there's an openness with. I think the important thing here is the openness to engage with other people, because as it says, fearful avoidant people do want intimacy and closeness, but they have trust issues. So it's the combination of the lack of self-trust and trust in others that makes it probably less toxic, in my opinion, than number two. Because at least with number two, you've got some level of independence. Like number two is the person that the lone wolf thing. You could argue, certainly from a relationship side, that may be a little bit more dangerous. That's where the egos come out. I think the narcissists come out in that as well, a little bit. Which is also what made me think that I wasn't a narc, because a lot of my own personal issues came from, and I'll come on to this in the next bit, my own issues came from this. I've said it before, the clinginess, being clingy, and then it becomes almost not an attack, but like a kind of like a bit like I'm sulking, but I'm like a sulky teenager, essentially, is what it is. So that's those. So I think once I started learning about this, you and the other person, it became next level. I was like, right, I get it now. I get who I am. This combined with the campaigner, and this has helped me with work as well with this stuff, because this whole thing about you can't look after yourself, other people without looking after yourself first, that kind of thing. A lot of it comes when people talk about self-improvement. It comes about, well, how do you get to this secure stage where you're comfortable in yourself? My auntie's been single for 30 odd years, like since her 40s, 30 years probably. I've never known her to have a partner, and I think she last dated in 1990 or something like. But she was at the secure. She's been at that secure attachment stage for decades. But they're the most likable people. They're the people that people warm to because there's a security there. So if you're ever in one of these other three, you will find that naturally you'll probably gravitate towards people with a secure attachment style because that's what you need out of a relationship. They are the people that will just go, do you know what? It's cool. We're mates. It's fine. You know, we're all right. Like I know I'm at that stage because I've had some personal issues go off this week. People I've been speaking to, and I've just gone, nah, it's all right. It's cool. Whatever. So yeah, this leads on to the next bit. And this was the bit on Heidi Preeb's channel. This was the bit that got me. And I just lost my tiny little mind because I just went, it answered all my questions. So self-care. And what is self-care? So we know what self-care kind of how to get there in terms of the attachment styles and stuff. We know what the end goal is, but how do you actually get to self-care? And to get to self-care, you've got to kind of go to another tab on your browser, which is the 5 love languages. Now, this one is on 5lovelanguages.com. It's another creative website name. No, I think this one's got a quiz as well. So this one, 5lovelanguages.com. So Heidi Preeb's channel, she talks about love languages a lot. And one of the things that came up was she's got a video on it, and I'll link to it because it's the video that I literally jumped out of my seat and went, oh my God, this is it. And it was, how do you turn, because love languages are often seen as how do you show your love to the other person? And again, we're talking love as in friendship, family, colleagues, whatever. But it never gets talked about the other way, as in how do you, and you also receive love languages. So it's the idea that you receive physical affection from another person, or you receive quality time from another person, or spending time with them, receiving gifts, as it says on there, that kind of thing. But nobody ever talks about how do you do this for yourself. So if you're single and you're on your own, like I've been, and at one point, at the new year, I had nobody apart from my mum and dad and my school friends, pretty much. And even then, I'm only close to my mum. I'm not close to the rest of them, really. Maybe my dad. So I watched this video and I was just blown away by it. She talks about love languages as being, how can you turn that on yourself? So how can you, this sounds funny, but how do you love yourself? That's what it is how do you love yourself? So how do you use those love languages to give them, to take them back again? So it's a bit like bouncing it off a wall or something, or a mirror. And she worked through them all one by one. And like the last one is me. And I'll come to it. But she goes through like the 5 love languages. So she goes through acts of service. So this is what it means when you are engaging in acts of service with another person. But this is how you engage in acts of service on yourself. So actions speak louder than words. So it's how do you action that for yourself, and do something for yourself. So obviously quality time with yourself is being on your own and having that space to reflect. Receiving gifts is treating yourself, but it's not just, the important thing is that when it says gifts, it doesn't just mean materialistic gifts. It means the concept of gift giving. That whole thing about kids and pebbles. Like my son's upset. Like my kids just make random stuff and then just give it you, and that's so endearing and just like amazing. Like they just give me random drawings they've done, or like, and you're like, what? You're like, what the F is this? And you just like, thank you. And it's like, that's what it means. So, but then it's how do you do that for yourself? So it might be that if you're creative, you gift yourself a piece of art, like you do a drawing or you write a song, and that's your gift to yourself because you've created that yourself. So that's how you can love yourself. So for me, I'm a songwriter. So when I do write a song for myself to help me with my emotions, for example, that is me gift giving myself, and arguably acts of service as well. So obviously acts of service isn't necessarily quality time. It's kind of a bit of a combination of everything, really. Like I say, Heidi's video does this a lot better than me. But these are the ones I kind of want to come to: words of affirmation and physical touch. So my personal spread of these was, if I can remember, I can't remember the numbers, but I had 4. I was really all rounded. I'm 4 of them the same, and the only one that was a little bit extra was physical touch. So it was something like 25% physical touch and 19% the rest, or something like that. So pretty balanced actually, but physical touch is my number 1. And I've commented on TikTok about it before, how incredibly touch starved I was for months and months and months, especially COVID. COVID was just horrific. And so from a giving and receiving side of it, the words of affirmation, hearing those words, that's another one. I'll be honest, I thought I'd be stronger on that one, but I'm not. Praising other people, having that in return, that's a fairly easy one to talk. So talking yourself up, saying I can do this, I know I've got the strength to do this, that's self-affirmation. So that's an easy one to, I say easy, it's not easy to do it in the moment when you feel like crap, but it's easy to understand. Physical touch, and this was the one that was bothering me, because the rest of them are kind of like, especially when you're on your own, you get your own quality time. I'm quite good at talking myself up anyway to get the confidence to, because I'm a natural public speaker, so I'm quite confident in that respect. So things like that, I'm used to those kind of skills, and being a manager in the past, I've learned how to do that. Quality time with myself is one that I've really struggled with, actually, because I always felt guilty about not spending that time on something I should be doing, which is when you've got your anxieties of life, like your work, and you're struggling with like your love life or whatever it is. Giving yourself quality time, like for me at the moment, is work and money, and not having the funds to pay the bills. For me, I can't relax in quality time because I'm going, well, I should be doing this instead. But the answer to that, for me, is that, to give you an example of turning that on yourself, is that I've now decided that every Tuesday morning live stream, because this is part of what I'm going to do to monetize it, I'm going to try and do some gaming on a live stream. That's doing something for me. Or like maybe songwriting, I'll just write some songs on live stream. All I'm doing there is I'm doing my own stuff for me, but you get to see it, and that's part of the monetization side of what I'm trying to do to pay the bills. So it's kind of like a kill 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing, but I've got to see it more as spending time with myself. Physical touch. So the obvious joke here is, how can you touch yourself? And would get that joke out of the way, because that's the joke that everybody makes on all these videos. But there is an answer to what this looks like in terms of how do you, because physical touch is like, how do you physically, like, that isn't a physical touch. Is like, yes, you can like hug yourself, but it's not the same. I'll come on to these in a minute. So physical touch is like that. Now, she made a really good point. It's self-care, and it's self-care in looking after yourself. It's so in the same way that you would, if you think about physical touch as a physical presence, so it's not the touch bit, it's the physical bit, was what she's talking about. Like, focus on the physical of you. And I am absolutely shit at this, right? I'm terrible. Self-care. And this is the ADHD, and this is the neurodivergent thing. So for anybody whose physical touch is, so yes, Katie, yours is, yeah, same as me, touch starved. I'm constantly touch starved. Physical touch. If you learn about, so in your case, fearful avoidant, it's multifaceted. I would say focusing on from what I gather, focusing on yourself first and your self-love, but bringing that up. Don't lose sight of the fact you're an INFP, because the INFP bit will help you understand yourself better, but it'll also help you understand your relationship with other people, so you can build on your relationships with other people because you're being the best version of yourself at the same time, and it feeds itself. Then the last thing you want to do is get in that lone wolf territory of the other one. So from a neurodivergent side of it, the self-care is the bit that yes, weighted blankets. Oh my God, the weighted blanket. Yes. Yeah. 100% weighted blanket. Absolutely. The self-care, sorry, to get back on track because my meds are wearing off. You have to focus on your physical being. Personal hygiene, which I hate admitting this on a live, but I'm going to do it for the purposes of education. I am terrible with personal hygiene. I never used to be. I used to have, when I was had routines of being out and about. I work from home now. I need a shave. I had an hour break earlier to have some tea. So all I've eaten today is 2 pieces of toast, and I bought a packet of crisps and I didn't even eat them. Where are they? They're there. Didn't even eat them. That's exactly what I mean. I brought them in and I didn't eat them. And they'll probably stay there till next week. So yeah, shave, not had a shave, not shave my head, not clean my teeth today, not had a shower for a couple of days. Basically, I'm a scruff, right? And that's not through me consciously doing that. I'm not choosing not to do these things. I went upstairs at 5 o'clock to get a shower and fell asleep. And then I went, oh, I've got a life, blah, blah, blah. So this is the thing with ADHD and time blindness, all that kind of stuff, is the self-care, the self-love. That's the answer. So as somebody anxious, preoccupied, to get to the secure stage where I'm happy being single, I'm happy being in a relationship, I have to be happy with myself. How do I be happy with myself in the context of the physical self and the physical touch? So this comes back to the physical touch thing again. Let's say losing weight because I've put on 3 stone. I should be slim framed and I'm not. I've just got dad bod. I'm not bothered about muscles. That's not my thing. Shaving, hygiene, eating better. I have a crap diet. My diet is terrible. It's not that I don't like food, because I like any food. I will eat any food. That's my blessing and curse. I'll happily eat Sunday dinner. Like, I'll eat vegetables. I'll eat vegan. I don't care. But I don't exercise. I hate exercise. I've always been like that. I'm not an outdoors person. So for me, I've got to learn how do I get myself to that stage where I can love myself again? How am I going to start losing weight? How am I going to start eating healthier when I'm living off noodles because I ain't got any money in? And how am I going to start exercising when I don't feel like I've got the time to exercise? Now, I have got time to exercise. We all know this whole thing about Molly May saying about everybody's got the same 24 hours in the day. They haven't. We know they haven't. We know ADHD people don't have the same 24 hours. But it comes back around to how do you incorporate that into your day then? So in the same way that I talk about, like, Twitch is a great example of that. You could, if you could, I was talking to Charles the Weeb, at Charles the Weeb. I think that's a username. Weeble. Is it at Charles the Weeble? It's either at Charles the Weeble or Charles the Weeb. Anyway, she's on my friends list if you can find her. And I was talking to her about it and how you can either play games for 6 to 8 hours a day and not stream, or you can try and monetize yourself and get $100 a month minimum, is it, for the payout? If you can get to $100 a month, 70 quid a month just for playing games, which you do anyway for 8 hours a week, that's money. That's going to pay for your games and your consoles. It pays for itself. It becomes its own business then. And we talked about it last time, the trading allowance. You've got £80 a month in trading allowance, so you could get £70 a month on Twitch streaming alone, not have to declare it in tax. And then you're not even making a profit because you could offset all your gaming as expenses because that's your income stream. You're using your games to fund the subscriptions for Twitch. Basically, it becomes a business transaction. So that people don't know about that. People don't. I was talking to sorry, I'm sidetracking a little bit here, but it's all kind of relevant. I was talking to Shebricks I commented on Shebricks' video. She does Lego interior decor. And she was saying that I said to her, do you know you can claim all your Lego as a business expense? And she went, what? I was like, yeah. She got thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. She must have 5 figures worth of Lego, I'm guessing, because she loves it. Maybe 4 figures. I don't know. I'm speculating. But that's her job. Her job is to do videos, TikToks, YouTubes, build the Lego up, display the Lego, teach you physically how to display the Lego in the home. And that's the business expense. It's done with. It's a prop then. It's a prop like it is for any other business. But people don't know. This is one of the reasons I want to do this job, this self-employment thing, because people don't know these things. They don't know that they don't think you can Twitch, you can claim your video games as a business expense, because as long as you stream them, and as long as you're monetizing the stream, so you probably can't do it to start off with. You probably can't do it as, like, now I'm not monetized on Twitch. So I probably can't claim for playing a game on Twitch. But if I was monetized and I had an income stream from Twitch and I was doing it for the sole purpose of playing the game on Twitch and not playing it offline, just play your game online, it's free in it and you get money in. So that comes back around to the exercise thing. I used to get a lot of exercise when I was in bands gigging. Can't do that so much now because I haven't got the time or the energy. But I might start dance classes again or something because I enjoy it. It's music. I like music. It's a hobby. That comes back around to quality time with myself. These all link together to help you with your self-care. So physical. And so I started seeing all these little pieces glued together. And then if I'm being a better version of myself, it's no coincidence that since the start of the new year, my follower base on TikTok has doubled because I'm being more myself. I mean, I've always been myself anyway online. I've never lied about stuff. I've always been quite open and transparent. But I don't think it's any coincidence that now I'm secure. I'm doing better I'm doing all the things I want to do. I'm doing this job. I'm doing this, I'm making steps the money's not great, but I'm making steps to put things in place to help other people. And I'm taking steps to spend time by myself and be comfortable with my own company, which I never thought I would be. I never thought I'd be that person. And now I'm quite happy just being like, yeah. I mean, this helps. I like talking. I just talk. My therapist thinks I'm amazing because I just talk at her for 45 minutes and she doesn't get a word in. So yes, that's what it comes down to. I think a lot of it, especially with ADHD and the sensory seeking and the dopamine and all the rest of it, for us, how do you make that fun? How do you make that practical? Here's another example. I've just thought of it now. So Katie, if you're still here, cleaning your teeth. I clean my teeth. It's different for you because you're not my age. I clean my teeth at the same time my kids clean their teeth. So we all clean our teeth together at the same time. So even if I forget for the rest of the week, I still clean my teeth 3 to 4 times a week because of the once a day we remember to clean our teeth, because we try to remember twice and fail. But we always do it before school, and we always do it before we go out visiting family or friends on a Saturday. So I started cleaning my teeth at the same time as I wasn't doing it before. I was letting them do it themselves, but now we all do it as a 3, and we put one of those little songs on YouTube. So it's about being clever and thinking, how can I incorporate this into the other bits of my life that are already going on? And I'm coming back round to the thing about the self-employment thing and about personal branding and ADHD and Twitch streams and stuff. We don't have 24 hours in the day. We all know that our 24 hours are shit compared to everybody else's. So we have to make the most of those 24 hours and multitask in a way that doesn't feel like multitasking. And that's the key to motivating yourself to get into that place where you can eat better or remember to clean your teeth. Because you start looking after yourself better, romantically, people are more invested because you're giving off more positive vibes. If they're not in a secure place, they're drawn to you because you're the bedrock for them. And then they become their best self. And then it's amazing. So for me, this was my epiphany of what self-care looks like when you're neurodivergent, is focusing on yourself so you can focus on other people, but they go hand in hand. Not being afraid to ask for help. That's been my biggest thing. And I'm so grateful for this community, even though there's only like a handful of us. Like, asking for help was one of the biggest hurdles I had to overcome as an adult. Kid, I didn't care. I'd ask for help all the time. And accountability, and knowing when you're wrong, knowing when you're right, knowing when you mess up, when you don't mess up, and saying, look, I've messed up here. Or not even messed up, like I'm in deep shit. Like when I lost my therapist, my support worker, and my agency work within Christmas week. Bear in mind, I had Christmas, my birthday, and New Year's all in that week as well. And then on New Year's Day, my ex told me that she was seeing somebody, and I was like, just the whole week was a shit show. And I spiraled. Actually, that New Year's Day, I met on the live stream. I rock bottomed again for 24 hours. I rock bottomed and came back up again. And we started me watching these videos. And I think you got to kind of ask for the help when you need it. So I said to my dad, I said, I'm really struggling. Can you come and help me out? And every Sunday he comes and helps me paint we're still not finished painting the house. He'll come and paint the door frames and stuff just while I'm working in here. Or it might be, like I'm asking you guys, the community, for support, like helping me out with this so that I can return the favor as soon as I've got my revenue streams in. Even if it's my business clients, like, I'm planning on getting some business clients coming in so I can do some blog writing for them, because blog writing is my thing. I write blogs, and I write shit hot blogs as well, but I don't talk about it on TikTok. And if I can get them on board, then that's clients that I've got a base with that will work with you guys if you guys want to get into freelancing, or if you know somebody that does, or if you want to become a an influencer or a TikToker or something like that, then they work with you on a partnership basis, and it's all networking, and it all kind of comes around, it all connects, it all comes around together. And it's definitely eye-opening. So yeah, I think that's pretty much me covered. I've kind of talked a lot. If you're still here, Katie, I keep saying if you're still here because I'm getting the wrong live stream numbers on here. I'm going to go through this. So physical touch 37%, quality time 23, words of affirmation and acts of service 17, and gifts 0. That's interesting. Gifts 0. So if I put this on stream, actually, I'll put this on stream. There we go. Okay. So mine is really similar to this, except for gifts. So if you take some of that physical touch and put it in gifts, that's me. So I can relate to this a lot. So as somebody, in Katie's case, fearful avoidant, you would look at that and go, well, what am I not getting? What is it that, like, gifts? The gift giving is obviously, if it's 0, it's 0. I've just thought, sorry, I need a drink. The other side of this as well is that it's buffering like mad. Okay, well, I'm going to post this on. It'll go live on Twitch and YouTube anyway, so you can skip through if it's an issue. Is it buffering for anybody else, or is it just you? If you can focus on yourself with these things, then you as somebody fearful avoidant, start to build trust in yourself and then the trust in others, because the fearful avoidant person typically wants to trust other people but can't. So by focusing on your own self in this respect, this is the important thing, because it's all well and good being showered with gifts, but if you're not a gift giver and a gift receiver, then it doesn't really you missed everything I've said. Where do you want me to go back from? I can go back if you want, because we've got loads of time on this stream, and I don't think you're the only person talking at the moment, so you might even be the only person on. I don't know. So I'll just go back. I'll just summarize back to this comment that's just gone up. So similar to me, if you're fearful avoidant, then it's more, from what I gather, it's more a case of focusing on yourself to then go, right, okay, how can I implement my 37% physical touch? So how can I focus on my physical presence? How can I focus on my personal hygiene? How can I focus on cleaning my teeth? How can I focus on eating healthy, drinking less? I know you're 17, so drinking less for the purposes of this channel is being in a pub at 16 and having a meal where you are legally allowed to have a drink with a meal. Or maybe it's other activities. How do you focus on your best self in terms of feeling good, in terms of getting a good night's sleep is another one. Sleep is another one. Huge thing. So that comes under physical touch, getting a good night's sleep. Again, that quality time sinks into that. Words of affirmation, acts of service, I've kind of highlighted them because a lot of this is similar to me. But in your case, the emphasis on physical touch there is huge. And you can almost use these other ones to kind of complement that. So it's definitely worth looking at. Let's see if I do that now. Ooh, hello, I'm not there. So yeah, I didn't think to turn the screen off when I stopped using it. So yes, yeah, and what you'll find as well is that if you don't have that self-drive, that self-confidence, that self kind of that understanding of yourself, you can't overcome those hurdles. You're going to be stressed because you're not, you know, like confident in yourself to overcome those hurdles. So you're going to be like worrying about stuff, if that makes any sense. And these things all go hand in hand. Like I know that even though I'm at a secure attachment style now, just on the cusp of a secure attachment style, I need to massively focus on my physical touch for me, my self-care, because that's the only thing that, in terms of my ADHD and being neurodivergent, is stopping my productivity, is fatigue, tiredness, you know, those kind of things. This without going into the deets, this that kind of stuff. Really, it's kind of it all what's the word? Self-perpetuates, is that the word? It all feeds itself. So these things aren't gospel. This is just kind of what the things that I put together to help me with my self-care. And go on that self-care journey of thinking, well, how can I put myself first without while still having an impact on society, a positive impact. Because that was the thing for me. I've always wanted to, as somebody neurodivergent. When I say I, by the way, and I'm talking about my experiences, I talk about it in a neurodivergent way, that I'm not being egotistical. I'm talking about it in life skills and life mutual sharing, all the rest of it. What they call it, love languages. That one. We all do it. Neurodivergent, we all do it, don't we? But I say we as in collectively neurodivergent have to. Oh, I've got my train of thought now. It's typical. I've completely forgot what I was saying. If anyone can help me, that'd be great. Yes, neurodivergent. We struggle with these things anyway. So if we're the best version of ourselves, people are going to like the best version of ourselves. So yes, I don't know if anybody else is. There's still some people here. What else have we got? Yeah, has anybody got any questions or anything else? Just I'll keep talking. I don't actually know how long I said the live stream was. I said 2 hours or something. I'm over about an hour and a half anyway. I can't remember. I think it was 2 hours. Sleep. Talk about sleep. So, no, listen, it's all quite deep. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Feel free to just. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chuck this into bits. Hopefully, compartmentalize it for YouTube. Oh, thank you. That's really nice, Katie. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. To be honest, actually, that's why I'm doing this on Twitch, because I know you're not 18 yet, and I know that TikTok, there's a lot of my followers on TikTok are under 18, which is kind of why I want to do these streams on Twitch, because I said this on a different video, I didn't anticipate having a following under 18, because my business was always going to be, sorry, Kate, the other Katie, you're 25. Yeah, I know you're in your 20s, but Milk Tea Goddess is 17. Hello, Ash. You were quiet. You're just hiding away. Well, kept your mouth shut, didn't I? Your new twin, yes, the other Katie. Yeah, thank you. That's really nice. Yeah. I didn't know you were there. Hello. I'm embarrassed now. Oh, you're at work. Okay, that. I feel a bit better then. You might not have heard everything. So yes. I think that's how you get to the best version of yourself. Don't mind if I'll try and I'll upload it. I'll upload it. Well, I'm going to upload it to YouTube anyway. I've uploaded the other one. I don't know if anybody's seen it. But I'm going to just upload content now and just push it out because YouTube, I need to get some followers on there. But if anybody's got any questions, throw them in, because that's how I've done it. That's how I've overcome this whole bloody mess that I've got myself into generally. So I think being in that secure attachment style gives you the most flexibility to put yourself in a position that you would never have thought you put yourself in otherwise. Yes, I will come to that on another video because there's things I can't discuss on. Well, I probably could discuss them on here, but I've made a pact with myself that I would have an over 18s discussion separate. So there will be things that I will talk about that I can't talk about on here. But yeah, I'm going on my own. I suppose what I can say educationally is that I've gone on my own journey of self-discovery recently, in multiple ways, and I don't think I could have done that in a healthy fashion had I not been in a secure state up here. Because I know that I know that I would have got myself into a position where it would have just made me feel worse than better. So you have to kind of know yourself really as well for these kind of things. Whoa, I'm just experimenting with the. That's a better one. I could have used that one. Push myself in the corner. There we go. So yes. I can talk about anything that anybody wants me to talk about now because I've talked about all the self-care stuff that I know about. If anybody's got any questions about self-care, about me, about being neurodivergent, how do I cope with stuff? How do I function? Go ahead. But yeah, sorry, I did skim over a really, really nice comment. I'm going to put it up. This one. Honestly, I've never felt more seen, and everything you said tonight helps me out. I really appreciate it, Kate. Yeah, I was saying this is why I do this. I want people to be seen because I have so many life experiences that I look back on and go, I wish I'd known that. I wish I'd done that. I was doing that was another one. I was doing that. That's another thing. I've got to learn to stop looking at myself there on the camera. And I want to pass that on. Like, it started off as employment because that's what I know. You know, I used to be a retail manager, so in one of the biggest stores in the country. So I know that I am good at work. But I know that if I wasn't neurodivergent, I would have done a lot better by now. I'd be a lot higher up in whatever business I was in. But I know that my ADHD's held me back, and I don't want, especially like, you know, my kids. Like, I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that they are a failure because they didn't go to uni or because they struggle to concentrate in class or whatever. My daughter, to be fair, is doing really, really well at the moment at school, but I don't want them to fall down that same pit I did, where I struggled academically because I couldn't focus at school. Even though I was clever, I couldn't focus. So my grades were, even though they were good grades, they weren't as. I should have been a straight A kid, but I wasn't. So yeah, and if what combined with what other people are doing, in terms of there's content creators in the education sector. Like if you think about somebody on TikTok like Divergent Educator, for example, she's doing a brilliant job advocating in the education space. And that Spectrum girl is another one, Megan in Canada. I think she's in Canada. She wants to do some education stuff. So there are creators out there that are doing great things on the education side of it. And if I don't know much about it, so that's not my thing. My thing is employment and work more so. So if I can help neurodivergent people become self-employed, then they don't need to answer to anybody. If you've got the right support and the right talent, the right skill, and the right ideas, then you can live independently. And by that I mean financially free in the sense of, let's say, I'm throwing numbers here. I don't know the exact numbers because I'm trying to think of, like, if you were quite happy living in a minimalist lifestyle and your bills came to maybe 1,500 a month, let's say, I'm just like out of London prices, and that was it, you're happy. Unless you've got a partner. Okay, let's do it that way. You've got a partner. So there's two of you, and you're both really compatible, secure attachment style, and you're both quite happy with what you've got and a bit to treat yourself, but you're happy with what you've got. 1,500 a month is what I think is what me and my ex our bills were, because we didn't have fancy cars, we didn't do a lot. My bills have gone up now because of the debt that I've accrued from moving into this place, but that's £750 a month each if you're in a partnership. So that's, if you've got the right talent, that's easy money. I think the thing is, people don't realize, and this is why I'm so angry and passionate at the same time. People don't realize it's not easy to make money at all. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work, and you guys have seen the graph that I'm putting in to build this network up. But when you look at the numbers and you run the numbers, there's so much scope for, whether it's, like, I know that Milk Tea Goddess is doing floristry at the moment, so posting pictures on Insta, getting an Instagram following, you can start monetizing your following after 1,000 followers on Instagram, because you can put yourself on a website like Pearpop and say, get deals and sponsorship deals and stuff, and reach out to businesses that way, or Intellifluence is another platform. You can put yourself on there and say, this is what I do. Maybe it's like, I don't know, it might be like a company that sells confectionery and they want to do for like Valentine's Day, or they want to do for like Mother's Day, or that kind of thing. And you could place the product in with your flowers and stuff. So that's an example. And they pay good money for it as well sometimes. There's all this kind of little things like that. The Twitch stream is another one. So I think it's definitely worth everybody, because that is the equivalent of that then becomes like a base income. Because if you have a skill and you can generate that recurring revenue every month for as minimal work as possible, long term, short term, yes, you need to put the work in, but long term, then you can do whatever the hell you want. Whatever you want. This is exactly what I'm saying about, I want to get YouTube up and running, because if I can get this Neurodadversity brand as a personal, as me, because this was never in the plan. It was never in the plan. I was always going to be behind the scenes with the project that I was doing originally so this time last year. But I realize now that if I can build up my own, if I can get to YouTube monetization and Twitch and all the rest of it, the ad revenue that comes in, I've done a projection on it. I think some of you guys might have seen it yesterday. If I can get to a stage where that can pay my bills, and I'm just doing this because I love it. All I'm doing is helping people, talking to people, helping people with advice on here. That you can do what you want with the information. You can, whatever you want to do with it. And then the ad revenue, so not the subscriptions for the community, because that's a separate thing that I'm hoping to long term at least make it all free. But for now, it needs to generate the revenue. Then I can do whatever the hell I want in a good way. Like, it means I've got time then to focus on helping you guys and helping the people and the founders, and then they can help other people and they can help other people and other people. And it becomes a chain then, because in the background, coming back to class for the video, the middle upper working class, that apparently is upper class, generating your own revenue. Except you don't need $250,000 in the bank to do it. You just need 8 hours a week playing a game, or like coming up with something new that nobody's done, and monetizing it on YouTube ads. Like, that's, I think there's so many opportunities, especially like, again, neurodivergent. It's all about being neurodivergent, this. And I'm hoping to get so much more kind of, I mean, if people want this as a, I mean, I might even do this kind of thing as a podcast, to be honest, if anybody's interested in that, and I can get some guests on and stuff and get some other people in talking about stuff. Actually, to be fair, it's not a bad idea, because I have got some contacts I could probably do that with. So maybe I could turn one of these into a podcast. I have a Q&A, a podcast for everybody, a gaming stream, and a coffee morning, which is just a drop in. But maybe this could be a podcast. That's exciting. I'll have to look into that. So yes, is anybody still there apart from Ash? Because I know Katie's gone. Is the other Katie there? Katie number 2, K. I'm gonna have to start giving you different names. Tea and cake. Can I say tea and cake? Tea and coffee? The milk tea goddess and K. Or 96. Oh God, I'm sure work me age out. I'm only 25. Yeah. I'm losing the plot. I'm on till 9 o'clock. I've got nothing to. Oh, I know what I can do. Classy. Okay, classy. There we go. Classy and milk tea. Right. What about, does anybody here play Wordle? And if you do, have you played it today? Because I haven't played Wordle today. I don't know what the website is. What's the website? That one. Wordle. So there's loads of, it's the big thing at the moment. There's loads of rip-off apps you can get. But this is the official website one. So Wordle, I'm sure this is a TV show as well. I'm sure that ITV have got this as one of these cheap daytime shows. You have to guess the 5-letter word. So, like, say I type let's think of one, brand. So that means that the letters R and D are in that word. Write this. So R and D are in there. So now I've got to kind of guess where those letters are, because those letters aren't in the right place, those R and D. So maybe it's so it would be drank. It could be, nope, I'm on the wrong screen. Hang on. Oh, I've had D. Oh no, D's right. D. Or so there's no B, A, or N. So R. Darts. So they're in the wrong place again. Radio. Oh, an I or O of a. Oh, D's in the right place. Adder. No, that an A. No A. Oh. That E. Oh, no, it's not either, is it? Luder. Luder. L. I'm not at E. I'm not at U. Older. Oh, don't do this to me. Come on. Isn't it? Oh, no, it's not older. No, it's not older because... Oh, it could be elder. Ah, yes, elder. There we go. I was saying there's no O in there. Whoop, 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 whoop. So, but they only do one every 24 hours. So I've got to wait 3 hours and 20 minutes for the next one. Yeah, you were very close. Well done. But yeah, I bet if I put older in, we would have got it then anyway, because it would have. You've got so many chances to get it. But yeah, apparently this game. So I learned this game is invented by a guy from South Wales, and he sold it last month. He sold this website last month to an American newspaper, New York Times, maybe 7 figures for this one game. So he's basically made him a millionaire. Just this one website because he owns the rights to Wordle. But obviously the TV show and everything as well. So it's like they made a TV show out of it. It's quite it's very ITV in it. Oh, so that's done. I don't know what else to try. What else to put on? Should I end the live stream? I'm just chatting. I could just chat. I could just keep chatting to make content, couldn't I? What could I do? What could I do? Struck me weird. ASMR. I'm so funny. Stop sharing the screen now. I think everybody may have disappeared. Classy came out to be right. I think I'm going to scooch because I've run out of content, and I don't think anybody's got any questions. Unless you've got any questions. In fact, Classy, are you still online? Because if you are, I'll give you a couple of minutes. If you are online, I know you wanted to talk about LinkedIn, didn't you? Because I can do that. Do you want to talk about LinkedIn? What questions have you got? I've got a quarter of an hour, so. Tomorrow, yeah, fine. There's a lot taking it. I'll call it a day here then. I'll cut the stream now and then I'll do it on a different day. Thank you for turning up. The other Katie has disappeared. She's messaged me and said that she couldn't. There was issues with the stream. So, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, anything. Okay, drop me a message on Discord or whatever, and we'll have a look at it. And Ash, thank you. I know it works all right. But yes, bye everybody. Toodaloo. See you next time.